DuckTV Esports presents Episode 3 of our League of Legends podcast. Now, your host, Jacob Thompson.
Welcome everyone back to another episode of Intentionally Speaking. This is your premier place for all things League of Legends content related, as well as University of Oregon League of Legends. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and today we have an amazing show for you. We are going to talk about our reactions to Week 3, followed by a fun new segment I like to call Troll Pick or Pocket Pick.
I'm looking forward to that.
And then later we'll wrap things up with talking about Oregon Ducks' performance this weekend and a preview for our show match on the 21st against Northwest Christian College. So first off, we're talking about Week 3 of LCS. I think it goes without saying to say that Team Liquid does not look like the same team that we are used to seeing.
Something is really wrong here, and I don't quite know what it is.
I will say after watching their games, I did write down a lot of stuff that was a lot of like passion-filled like confusion, I would call it. I think the first very glaring problem is the Senna AD carry on double lift. I think this is something that is probably going to get over talked about everywhere this week. So I don't know, what are you guys' thoughts about it?
I mean, I think he's 0-4 on Senna.
Yeah.
I think the casters, I think Freak was talking about it, or whoever was casting that Monday's game against Golden Guardians, they were saying something about the fact that he's 0-4 on Senna is just kind of like a meme at this point, because like they keep on like picking it for him, and I guess supposedly Double Lift has said that like he really likes the pick and he's okay with playing it, but in their situation, like it's just not working out for them.
And he did have an interview where he called it a dog pick, right? That's what he said. I think he called it a dog AD carry.
I didn't catch that interview, so
I don't.
Do you know what you meant?
I'm assuming he just means that it's not a good champion, because I think it was one that they played against. It was one of their wins. They played against Senna, and I think he's expressed in a few different scenarios that he doesn't like the pick. I think it kind of like looking back on it, looking to it, you can kind of see the same similarities when you're talking about Sona, when he played to play Sona to carry with either Sona Tarek or Sona Tom Kench. Something he's not good at. But an interesting idea that revolves around playing Senna is that it opens up their play style and their game plan to allow for more carry potential from Jensen and Impact. And I think that it's something that as the meta changes, you have to be prepared for if it comes to a point where he can't play carry champions, or carry champions that he's usually plays on aren't necessarily good. But this current iteration of them trying to do Senna, keep playing it, going 0-4, I'm hoping it stops. I'm pretty sure it will stop, but something has to change.
So for me personally, I don't know if it's so much of a double lift issue. I mean, he does have, I think, the lowest KDA like in the LCS for all bot laners right now, and that's worth noting. But at the same time, yes, he's been forced on Senna repeatedly. Whether that's his choice, team's choice, still some room for confusion there, even though he claims that it's the team's choice. I don't think it's so much that it's double lift on Senna that's bad. I think just Senna AD is bad. Yeah. We've seen across the entire league it's
got a
complete
30% win rate.
30% win rate.
6-14.
Terrible, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's so much double lift. I personally believe that it's just Senna AD, and I think that if she was just forced into that support role and teams were to pick her there, it provides that utility, that late game team fight. Because when we look at team fights going into the late game, the problem she has is her DPS. Right, yeah. She has high damage outputs, but it's so slow. It doesn't allow for players like Double Lift to open up on carry champs like Xayah or Kai'Sa. That or Vayne, right? Like that's what they're famous for. Mm-hmm. When you have Senna with her slows and the DPS and the way her auto attack animation works, it's really hard to be able to carry into the late game, even though you provide that utility. So if we were to see Senna like fall into that support role that she naturally should be, even though she has the option to play ADC, that would allow Double Lift to be put on more of a carry role, right? I mean, Core JJ, I've seen VODs and like his Twitch or whatever. He knows how to play Senna, right? So if you put Senna on Core JJ, right, give Xayah or some other safe but carry crit marksman to double lift, right? You still have double lift having carry potential. You still have the Senna utility and healing for the late game. You still provide options for Jensen in the mid lane. I don't necessarily know if I personally want to like put carry potential onto Impact, because I think Impact's greatest strength is he's a rock island in the top lane to where he absorbs pressure. And that's why TL has those great strengths, because they think, oh, we can't exploit double lift, which they can right now because of the Senna, right? But if they can't exploit double lift, people tend to go push into Impact in the top lane, and that's why Team Liquid was so strong, was because Impact was able to absorb all that pressure and deflect it elsewhere. Yeah. So if you take Senna away from the AD carry role and instead put her in the support role, which is the way she was designed, with the option to do offhand AD carry, I think that solves double lift's issues, it solves Team Liquid's issues, and it might change her win rate in LCS.
I would actually like to bring up the point that, like, I think in terms of the Senna pick not being great, it's kind of like NA is really the only region that's actually playing Senna, like, exclusively.
That's true.
I know that LCK has, like, shied away from that. They're picking the MF, they're picking the Aphelios, they're picking these other picks. Also important to note, too, I also don't think at the same time it's not just the Senna pick that's messing with Team Liquid. Double Lift has like the lowest jungle proximity with Schernfire in the jungle, who had the longest time in his jungle farming, as opposed to in the matchup, I guess, against Golden Guardians, we had someone like Closer who actually had one of the highest in terms of how frequent he went to lanes, how frequent he impacted the lanes. And I think with Broxa, Visa being and he's able to in my thing, I think that with Broxa in, it should be a little better. I feel like there was just oftentimes that there was just this disconnect with Schernfire between the rest of the team. And I know it's really hard to like put someone in that position. But if you have been playing this strategy for Team Liquid for 4 splits now, where you give Double Lift as much attention as you can in the bot lane to allow him to win, and now you're seeing them struggle when you have a jungler that doesn't provide that assistance to him, and having the lowest jungle proximity of any ADC, like the help that he's getting from the bot lane is non-existent. So it's like, where is that effort going? And unfortunately, with the statistics as well, Schernfire is one of those junglers that farms, and he has the highest amount of time spent in his jungle than any other jungler in the league, and that's because he's farming and he's not proactively winning. We're seeing these picks like the Jarvan and the Elise be these picks where they're really, really strong at that level 2 and 3 mark because they can gank and assist lanes. And if he's being put on this Jarvan pick and he's just farming, what's really the point of even picking the Jarvan pick? When you could pick something like a Gragas that scales for a more team fight, or say something else that allows you to scale into that position. It feels like they're very lost in their identity, and I think that has to do with the jungler as well. I don't think it's not necessarily just the Senna pick.
I definitely agree. I think that after this weekend, I will say that, like, originally I definitely thought that Schernfire was the problem, and after this weekend, I definitely think that there's more to the story, and I don't think that it's fair to put all the blame on Schernfire because he didn't ask for this. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't like, hey, dude, you're our starting jungler.
Yeah, they totally didn't sit there and expect Brox's visa to get delayed and all that kind of thing. So
up until the point of week 1, at least like 3 days before week 1, it was going to be Pobelter that was going to be the one playing jungle. So for Schernfire, I will say that, I think what to take away from this is that he got a lot of experience playing on the LCS stage. He can take from this experience whatever he wants to do, and then hopefully that he can improve, and hopefully that whatever happens, and that I'm rooting for him. I hope that Academy goes well.
Yeah,
and I'm excited. I hope that once
I always like to see Academy do well.
Once Broxa comes in, the dynamic of the team changes. I think Double have tweeted saying that this is a good wake up call, and I think it's going to be a good wake up call. Once Brox is in the team, they get screaming going. can almost guarantee that Brox's champ pool is much larger than Shermfire's. Opens up the comp. I think with Senna getting nerfed this patch, they have no excuse to play it.
Yeah.
I don't think they will play. I don't think that's gone. I hope it's gone.
If I see Senna as 80 in more than 2 matches this next weekend, I might riot.
Yeah, I will be very upset. So I'm excited to see TL. I think that I still have them very high on my power rankings personally. I think that they are still one of the best teams in the league.
Oh, they're still definitely a top 3 team. I don't think there's any question about that. It's just figuring out this whole center role and meta as well as the jungler issues. It's just a whole lot of team chemistry things, but it's also only week 3, right? So
it's gonna be good. So moving off of TL a little bit and looking at the rest of the games that happened. Did you guys happen to catch the TSM versus Dignitas game?
No, actually, I was too busy cleaning tubs and stuff for one of my jobs.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
That sounds like fun. Okay.
What day was that? Was that day?
I think that was Saturday.
I don't remember if I watched that game.
Okay.
But you can probably elaborate.
Yeah.
Oh, I know I wasn't
Jump
watching it
into
too
it.
because Saturday I was watching the University of Oregon Esports Twitch account broadcast one of our team games.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I think we were playing at the same time. So TSM versus Dignitas, which I think was a very hype match coming in because TSM not only was undefeated since week 1 coming into the game, but Dignitas definitely has some ground to catch up on. They started out 3-0 and now they've lost 3 in a row, and I think a lot of people are kind of starting to sell their Dignitas stock, and I will say that I'm not one of those people. The performance, TSM right now is probably the best team, the best version of themselves so far this split.
I would agree with that. They
Bjergsen's
definitely have a lot
healthy.
of improvement from the past early 2 weeks.
Yeah, their trajectory of week 1 to week 3 is it's unbelievable. They are playing at such a different level. Like they're almost at that same level that Cloud9's playing at.
Yeah, I have faith again.
They're a completely different league now.
I would like to apologize for my early week 1 statements. It's just abysmal to watch.
So I will say that Cloud9 is a leagues above everyone else, but I think TSM is also way higher than a lot of the other teams right now.
Yeah, but I also don't think they have anything on C9.
They don't.
C9 is just above and beyond.
We're going to see that
they
matchup
are
this weekend, which I'm excited to watch.
Out there.
They
are on Cloud9.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite literally.
They're incredible. But the game itself was actually really interesting. There was no Senna AD carry, which would make me super happy. This game kind of brought up some of talking points that I want to talk about later in our other segment. But what I will say is that when Bjergsen's healthy, Bjergsen is scary. He was incredible. TSM is going to be a force in the playoffs, and I'm really excited to see how they're going to progress through the rest of the split.
I think Bjergsen's still in the top 7 or 8 KDA in the league, and I do want to talk about that in a little bit for sure, but in terms of mid laners, he's still one of the strongest while he's sick, right? So
exactly.
when we see him back to form, it's going to be kind of insane to watch. And I'm excited. I've never been a big TSM fan, as I've said before, but watching Bjergsen is always fun.
Exactly. It's always
Can I also bring up the point? I'm actually looking at it. So Dardoch played Set in the jungle.
Yeah.
Set is a really strong jungler. When I do get autofill jungle in games, normals, ranked, or whatever, he's one of my favorite picks because the Q, speed up towards enemy champions, right? Gives you nice, strong ganking potential. It allows him to not have to worry about winning lane so much as just farming and getting that sustain so he can fight in team fights. For a period when he first came out, a lot of people slept on it, but he was the highest jungle percentage win rate for at least 2 weeks until he got nerfed, and now I think he's still top 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the other team I want to talk about real quick was Immortals this weekend. So Immortals is 4-2. They're tied for second, I believe.
Oh yeah, I was actually really impressed with
Really?
Immortals. Yeah.
I haven't looked how the standings shook out.
Immortals really okay. So I think looking back to week 1, I had Immortals I think 7th in the standings. But here's the thing about Immortals is that I think they're I want to call it coasting a little bit. I think that they've managed to win games that they shouldn't have. When I think the game versus CLG, I think was it CLG?
Oh yeah, no, I think it was CLG because I watched the very end of it, and it was the one.
They've both. I think they backdoored 2 games this split, if I'm right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the Immortals game. Immortals for CLG.
Yeah, whichever one. By the way, CLG won this
TSM.
weekend.
Yeah,
Congrats.
congrats to them. I
Congrats
mean,
to CLG.
they
I watched the last
managed to
10
do
minutes
that.
and they finally did it. Almost lost it there, but they did it. But yeah, no, CLG.
Wasn't it the
no.
TSM one, the
Immortals,
60-minute one?
Yeah, that was the yes. I think that was another backdoor, but that was that
Yeah.
game. We don't like to talk about that game because that game was a nightmare to watch.
I would agree that Immortals are coasting. Like
And
I watched the highlights and
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really impressed with this team, but it's cool to see them win. I think next week, it's going to be Immortals versus TL, which we should hopefully see Broxa, which will be interesting because Xmithy versus Broxa, I think is going to be a very exciting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A very exciting show. But what I will say about Immortals, I think one of the games I was really impressed with was the Immortals versus 100 Thieves game. So I was playing Cho'Gath, which made me realize that Cho'Gath is just as annoying in pro play as he is in solo queue, because Soaz got 2 kills and then he became an unstoppable force.
I mean, yeah, if you have like a 6K like champion that's bigger than your screen, like walking
Yeah.
up to you, like
It was just
popping righteous
know,
glory on top of you, yeah.
it was
Cho'Gath ahead is just
it was unfortunate, and but I'm glad to see them winning. I think I think this is definitely a team that's still trying to find their identity, kind of like Evil Geniuses. They're not necessarily new organizations to the LCS, but they're new teams, obviously, and I'm hopeful that we'll see them in the playoffs. I think we will, based on their early performance. I think they'll hit a low table playoff run.
Yeah.
But,
I think their expectation as a team is definitely like to at least get playoffs this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and like if they can, that's like.
But even if they can't, I mean, like they're a team coming in here with no expectations. You're not like Cloud9, TSM, or Team Liquid. I mean, they're a team that they came in. We'll see what happens. We got a pretty decent roster, and I'm pretty impressed with what they have going so far. I mean, they have a lot of veterans on the team with Soaz and Xmithy and even Altec.
I definitely could see them being a top half
Yeah.
team. I don't quite know if I have the faith for like
I kind
the
of
whole top
kind of
3
imagine
finals,
them,
kind of thing. But
yeah, I think they, I would like to see them in the playoffs. I think that they have a lot of that veteran presence that would be really awesome to see in a playoff run, because you need guys like that. I don't know, Drew, you joined my League of Legends fantasy.
I won
group.
my first week, by the way.
I don't know
think I
how
won
you
by
managed to win
30
that.
points. It was because Keith
So-
popped off on day 3.
Okay, I don't know why you
Oh.
did you put Keith in as your support?
The Keith Thrush pick, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's my bench. He's my bench player.
Oh, so
I
no,
think
so
doesn't
it
like
doesn't
no,
count.
because I did the math and it should have added up. Maybe I did it wrong. Okay, maybe
Yeah,
I did the math
nah,
wrong.
I can't-
But either
I'm
way,
pretty sure he's on
it
your
was
bench.
it was
He's on your
someone
bench, he shouldn't
from
play.
he's on GG, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Golden Guardians just had a really good game.
Oh
So
my
like
God. That's just
because I was day 2 or 3, I was really close. It was a difference
think it was
in
Monday.
points between like 0.4.
Yeah.
And then day 3 and Monday, Golden Guardians had a really good game, and I have.
you have closer, don't you? Maybe that's how you won.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it.
Closer
I can
is
pull it up
insane,
and like
guys.
Yeah,
I can pull it up and
closer
look at it
is
later.
insane.
But
That's
essentially, I think
insane.
my top lane and my jungle picks
Yeah.
dominated. It was insane.
I bring up the draft or the fantasy group because I do have Altec, which was one of my late drafts, because I
pull it up
thought
right
he
now,
was
actually, 'cause-
fantastic, and he did play fantastic, and he won me this week. So
We'll take a look at this.
I mean, okay, so like while we're here, we can even talk about Altec. I think that, I mean, he's looking pretty good. I mean, a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's gonna be washed up. He hasn't like played in the league for a few years now." I mean, but Johnny came back to the league and he's
Yeah.
like,
I'm impressed.
he's been performing. Like I was really impressed with just the way that he was able to like convert things into kills. I know that at like one moment in that game versus Team Liquid, he was able to like within the span of like 5 minutes, like he was able to get like 2 kills in the bot lane. He was able to rotate, was able to pick off someone under tower because they weren't playing well. Was able to pick someone off under the tower, was 3-0. Like he's making an impact in team fights. His mechanical skill, I think, is still there.
Oh, for sure.
And like I mean the team, I think that they're kind of like where their identity should lie is like being able to play maybe even through Altec or like through the spot lane.
Definitely.
So
I think it also shows Hakuo's performances as well. There's this weekend, and so far Immortals, their record so far. I think he's a fantastic support. I think that they work really well together. He's also one of those veteran presence that really brings this like good knowledge of the game, and I think they have a pretty decent. I think they got a pretty decent chance going in towards playoffs.
Yeah, I've always been really happy with Agua as well.
Yeah,
he's just an enjoyable sport to watch.
It's definitely a team that I get more and more excited every week I watch them play. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform over the next few weeks here.
Yeah.
I do. Before I move on to our
troll pick or pocket
pick. Before I move on to that here shortly, I do want to quickly talk about Sven.
Okay. We do kind of have to bring up Cloud9 at some point.
Yeah, and we can delve into Cloud9. So I want to preface this. So right now I have pulled up the statistics for all the players in LCS, and I'm looking at KDA from top to bottom.
Oh wow.
And Sven sits at first place, which is no surprise if you've been watching him play. But the margin of which his KDA averages in comparison to every other player in the league, I want you to tell me how big you think it is, Jacob. Sorry.
Josh.
I know too many J names, and
that's true. I get it. It happens all the time.
Doesn't help that your IGN is just PG. So.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, probably what? So what's his current KDA right now?
Okay, I'll give you his, but I want you to tell me the second place.
Yeah.
His is 72.
72. I would say, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to say the difference is like probably 30.
Oh, much higher.
Seriously, I'm trying to remember who would even be second.
I'll tell you who second is. Second's Vulcan, who's a support.
Vulcan, okay.
And actually, the top three are all Cloud9. It goes Sven, Vulcan, Niski.
Okay.
That's incredible.
I mean, not really too big of a
surprise. Oh no,
and
the reason I want to emphasize this is, do you give up?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So his KDA is 72, Vulcan's is 18. So I want to emphasize how big of a role Sven has played in C9's success this season so far.
How much?
They've won 100% of their games, right? Sven's died only once. He's had 25 kills, 47 assists. Vulcan is sitting next, right, with 50 assists, 3 deaths, 4 kills. And then Niski sits in third with 22 kills, 4 deaths, and 38 assists. Collectively, they have a total of 4 deaths in, how many games so far? 6?
That's incredible. That's just insane. That
Cloud9 is miles above everyone right now.
Yeah.
The fact that the margin between first and second, not only are they on the same team, but it is 72 minus 18, 60.
Well, not only that, but they play in the same
54.
lane. I mean, they're
a difference of 54.
It's 80 in support, so they're
and the fact that they're in the same lane, right, and the margin is that different. It also shows that Sven isn't just sitting passively in lane like we've seen him in past seasons. He's actually moving across the map and finding kills elsewhere aside from lane.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Cloud9. I'm with MSI eventually coming up here. I'm excited to see how they're going to perform against teams internationally. But we are Cloud9 fans. We're gonna see them find a way to fudge this up somehow. So I'm excited to see how they manage to do that. But who knows? Maybe this might be finally the split.
Yeah,
I'm looking for. This might be the team. Might be the year.
We'll definitely make it to groups again.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Past groups, that, we never know.
You never know.
That's what we don't know.
Maybe,
groups is pretty much a cinch every single year.
Okay, I mean, a lot of Cloud9 fans might get mad at me, but maybe it literally just took getting Sneaky out of there to maybe make the run for the team.
I don't know if it was just Sneaky. I'm not gonna say this as a diehard C9 fan. I'm saying this more so that Sneaky was definitely a franchise player, and while he wasn't the star player of the team, he never really fell far behind, and he always consistently put out DPS in fights, so he was always useful. I don't want to say he was so much the hindrance, but Sven making this bunch of a difference might be a push.
I will also argue that for them changing the jungle mid duo to Blabber to Niski from Sven to Niski, I think
that's a much stronger difference than getting rid of Sneaky.
I mean, Blabber and Sven had been fighting over jungle presence all last year, which I'm not a huge fan of. I've never been a big fan of that. I think that you got to pick your guy, stick with your guy, because in a ruin, with swapping through scrims and stuff, that's losing practice time for, individual players. And then deciding to move off Sven's actually really big, and giving Blabber the whole offseason with Niski, and I think that they play together a lot better than Niski and Sven did. So I think that probably is a bigger impact than losing Sneaky. But with Sneaky gone, it kind of leaves open the opportunity for more people to step up. I think Licorice stepping up is more of a leadership role. I think that's also a big impact on the team, because I think with Sneaky there before being one of the longest running players in the LCS, he has that level of you kind of have to listen to me because I've been here longer.
Well, I don't even know if it was so much that. I definitely think he did have that like veteran presence for the team and was kind of a rock.
I mean, there was like all those issues though with Cloud9 anyways.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of issues in terms of like camaraderie and stuff, especially at Worlds.
Yeah,
So
stuff.
I essentially, I guess, like from my entire perspective, is it's not so much that Sneaky was a detriment. He was always a positive
I would agree with
factor to the team. But like replacing Sven, making those mid jungle changes are way more beneficial than keeping things the way they were.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
it's like, it's unfortunate to not see him on the starting roster and depart, but at the same time, he was never he was never a hindrance. It's just a change C9 needs to make if they want to be competitive again.
Okay, so moving into let's move on to our fun segment here because
fun
I'm
segment.
excited
Yeah,
for this.
I'm
I
excited.
came up with this idea kind of late at night. I think it's when I woke up the next morning and was like, oh, I wrote something down here. So
I'm proud of you. You did a good job.
So
We
this
have
is
those
going to
all the
be
time.
Troll Pick or Pocket Pick. This is our new segment here at Intentionally Speaking, where we take a look at decisions and opinions in the LCS and decide whether it's a troll pick or a pocket pick. For those who don't know, in League of Legends and most video games, I think this term pretty much transcends more than just League of Legends. The term troll pick tends to mean I had a little trouble defining troll pick because troll pick and pocket pick can kind of be put in the same boat depending on what the situation depends what comes out of.
So me personally, I believe a pocket pick is someone that you don't play often, and it's either situationally or let's say you're in like a certain type of group of games with different ELO players, you know?
Yeah.
You may not play... I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm just going to use Rise. You may not play Rise often when in your current ELO or your current ranked games, you know, that kind of thing. But if you're going to play normals and that kind of the situationally, Rise, who you know very well and you play, like you know the champion in and out, even if you don't play it often currently, you can pull out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So that's your pocket pick. It's out of your pocket. Troll picks to me, and it could be different for you guys, are off meta, off roll, and different from a cheese pick. Because a cheese pick can be, quote unquote, essentially a beneficial troll pick that's off meta, off roll, but fits your team comp and situation and is productive. Troll picks are off meta, off roll, and absolutely detrimental to the entire
I
situation
had
of your
troll
team.
pick tends to mean the selection of a character or champion with the intention of losing or overall bad execution.
Yeah.
I.e., the roaming Teemo support. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to give him any notoriety because he doesn't deserve it.
Oh my gosh.
Huge hater.
Wait, I didn't even know this was a thing.
Don't look it up.
Just don't even bother.
Don't even give him the notoriety. Or
Roaming
Bard
part-
Top, who apparently keeps popping into my rank games. So,
Oh.
but the overall idea is I'm going to present you guys with 3 different topics, and then you decide whether or not it's a troll pick or a pocket pick, whether it's good or bad, So, these topics you kind of talked about already, but I think, and we can kind of get through this quickly as well. We don't have to necessarily spend a whole lot of time on this. So, my first question for you guys is Senna 80 carry. Is it a troll pick or a pocket pick?
Specifically 80 carry troll.
Troll pick, okay.
And I definitely hated on it from week 1, and I still do not want to see it in the AD carry role, but I do think her utilization and like power in the game is really beneficial to put in the support role.
Yeah.
But if we're going AD carry, it's a fat troll for me.
I mean, okay. If I don't know if I'd necessarily put it as a troll pick, but I think going into this next patch that we do have, I think it's a lot weaker.
Yeah,
so like,
sure.
I mean, what I usually classify as kind of a troll pick is like picking something that you know is a losing matchup into it, knowing well enough that it is a losing matchup, and you're going to like. I mean, that's kind of what I see as a troll pick, but I definitely do think that there was a reason though why people were playing Senna support, and it's because, or not Senna support, Senna ADC was because at one point it had the highest win rate in the game, I believe. So like, I think if you were to ask me that question, I think last patch I would definitely say that it was a pocket pick, but this week I'd say it's probably a troll pick at this point.
Okay.
I will continue to forever believe.
As you guys can probably guess, just by reading my notes, you can probably deduce that I think it's a troll.
Yeah,
pick
apologies to
by
everyone.
far.
We didn't have individual notes this week. We came unprepared.
So
It's that week 6 like midterm week for me.
yeah, it's tough.
Like,
It's tough.
I
totally understand.
Too many projects going on to prep
That's
for
the
this,
beauty
and
of
I had to play ranked games to try and catch up. So
me being a senior, I'm coming down to the end here. I don't have a whole lot of classes.
Yeah, you're chilling.
So this is what I do all day.
Well, that's gonna be me next year.
It's
It's gonna be 2 classes a quarter. Is
exactly.
My goal.
So we ready for that.
Wow.
So I had obviously troll pick, 614 in LCS, 30% win rate. Don't need to beat the dead horse. I think it's not good. Not gonna be good next patch. We're not gonna see it next patch. I think this is the end of it. So this will be the end of our conversation of it. So moving into our next topic here, I have kind of worded this weird. So I have Kabe replacing Sven. Troll pick or pocket pick?
That's a troll. So I mean, and you may have had a different thought about this before this segment, but I guess talking just previously about how massively ahead Sven is, and it's not just in his lane. When you look at the
I mean like TSM replacing Sven.
Was it a smart move?
Was it a smart move, troll pick or pocket pick? Not like Kabe being better than Sven right now.
Okay, sorry. I'm gonna
no, I
redact
totally
my
get that. That's
here.
what I was saying. It's kind of worded weirdly.
If you have an immediate thought, let's
Yes.
go ahead, 'cause I gotta think.
Okay, all right. So my initial thought is it's definitely a positive thing. So I'm going with that pocket pick. I mean, we never really got to see Sven and Biofrost together, so like obviously we can't really like judge that part, you know. But I think I really like the direction that TSM went with this. You have a very mechanically gifted, has been praised by a lot of ADCs, including Double Lift himself. You have Biofrost with Kabe, and Kabe is a very consistent laner.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to LEC and literally ask anybody who probably the most consistent laner has been in LEC, maybe behind, what's his name on Fnatic?
Reckless? Yeah, Reckless is still losing his consistency, in my opinion.
I think, though, that it's hard to argue the
Love
numbers,
LEC, by the way.
that Kabe is like this lane-dominant person, and I think that being paired up with Biofrost, I think it's a pretty good move.
Yeah.
I think it was a good move. I think it was a good decision.
So initially, once you rephrased the question, I understood what you're asking. I was going to say troll, and that's just because Sven, historically, as well as right now, is just showcasing how good of an ADC he is.
Yeah.
But when looking at the entire dynamic of TSM, I think it was a pocket pick or positive thing for their org.
Yeah.
Whereas last year, taking away spring finals and the Ezreal catch out,
The famous play.
taking that away, Sven did really well.
Yeah.
He still played his passive style, was able to stay even if not ahead in lane by the champs he plays.
Yeah.
And he did really well. And that was not he wasn't the cause of problems TSM were having. So I think the total idea for TSM to just reboot their bot lane, change it out, is beneficial for them. So I don't think it's so much for them. They saw it as a loss of Sven, as moving to things that will work better for their team as a whole.
For sure.
Because like they didn't want to build around Sven. They still want to build around Bjergsen, which I don't know how much longer they're going to do that. Even though it works. But the move to realize, okay, we're still going to build around Bjergsen, but we need to change up our bot lane and to let Sven go. I think it's a good decision.
Those TSM shares.
I agree. I had it as a pocket pick as well. I think that you can just see from the interviews, he was talking about how much happier he is on Cloud9. I think that in terms of like the atmosphere change, the team dynamic, I think he's a lot happier on Cloud9, and I'm happy to see him, performing as well as he is. I think he deserves it. I think a lot of people forget that, he was G2's bot laner for a long time. That was like, and that, I mean, obviously now like that kind of gets overshadowed with their current composition over there.
Oh, but, I am a fat G2 fanboy, but that's a topic for another day.
Another day. But I will say that I think in terms of like how both teams are performing post Sven leaving, I think obviously both teams are happy with how the transition went and how the players are coming in and seeing what the difference is now. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for both organizations, so I definitely agree.
Yeah, and you're totally right there. Like we don't see the Sven and Biospross.
That's true.
Like
that as well.
Synergy, whole kind of deal, and that's definitely a huge aspect that would need to be considered. But I don't know. Kobe and Biofrost are really working well together.
Yeah.
Sven and
Vulcan.
Yeah, Vulcan. Yeah, they're doing really well together. It just worked out for both teams.
Yeah.
Unlike the whole trade we saw with
Yeah.
Smoothie and Biofrost between
Speaking,
TSM and CLG.
exactly. Then with Smoothie at the time of his performance on TSM. So, and we do know that Drew here on the show is not a huge.
We're
fan
not gonna go into it any
of
further. Let's move
Smoothie.
on to the next pocket pick or troll pick.
Okay,
I don't
so
want to have
our-
that discussion again.
Our last topic here. So it is Dignitas as a top team. Pocket pick or troll pick?
Oh, that one's kind of hard.
It's a tough.
I'm still gonna say pocket pick. I still think it's a positive thing. I think they're a really strong team, even though they're 3-3 and we see them losing on the back foot. What I consistently see is they need to now learn how to work together as a team and play from behind.
I agree.
Whereas that's where their issue is, and that's why they've lost a couple games, is they don't get ahead in the early game that we saw in week 1 and 2. So how are they going to play from behind? And I think
Yeah.
finding that dynamic, finding that operation within their team, once they get it, which I believe they will, they're still going to be a top 3 team.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a top 3 team. I think that they're definitely a possible playoff team. I think that it's going to be really difficult. I know that this week for them, this was like their hardest week that they've had. I believe they had to play against FlyQuest and Cloud9 this week.
Yeah, I think so.
So like
No, they played Cloud9 and TSM this week.
Cloud9 and TSM. So like this week, I mean, these are teams that if you're going to be a top team, you need to be beating, like at least you need to be beating that TSM.
Yeah.
At least you need to be like competing against Cloud9. These indicators, like if you're a Dignitas fan, I wouldn't be so quick to jump off the bandwagon, but I would definitely not. I don't think it's safe to say that they are a top 3 team, because I think that you can make a list of other teams that right now on paper, if they played against Dignitas in a best of 3 series, probably would end up being.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's a whole on paper right now kind of situation. And I'm just defending them a little bit. Is they were so strong coming out the gate, and when you look at the veteran experience in terms of playoff situations like Huni, Afromu, when we get to that kind of scenario towards later season, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be a top 3. There's issues going on right now, and there's teams solving issues that they had week 1, right? That they're figuring out. And Dignitas now has new issues that they need to figure out. So it's kind of like a little flip and bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But once things start to settle out, once we hit week 5, is really where I'm going to cement my decision. But I'm still a diehard. I think they'll be a top 3 team.
I'm just curious because, like, if I am looking at this Dignitas lineup, are you a little hesitant about like Greg as a jungler? Because I know he's consistent, but is he a top 3 jungler?
So-
Well, see, but that's where we get into the argument of, is it the entire team top 3? Because I don't agree that I don't think Greg is a top 3 jungler for sure. But collectively, I think Dignitas is top 3 team.
Talking about Grig, so I was gonna bring this up. So week 1, I brought up as a overreaction was that Grig was gonna get replaced by Acadian by the end of the split, and I have to say now I'm not gonna toot my own horn or
We're gonna have to
anything
when
Send
we
him
hit
back
the
to
end,
Academy.
we're gonna have to go back
have to
to
go
that
back
first
and look at it,
episode and look
because
at him and see what happened.
All I'm gonna say is in the end of the what game was it that they what was the last game that they played? I think it was against TSM. No, it was Cloud9. That last game against Cloud9, I saw a whole lot of Acadian in Twitch chat. I saw a whole lot of Acadian. And here's the thing.
I can't even read Twitch chat.
This
when
is my
else
problem
going
that I
on.
had
So many
when
bots.
they signed Acadian to the academy team this last year. I was really against that move because of TSM 2019 and their battle of Grig and Acadian.
Oh
And-
gosh,
and the
yeah, I didn't even
clear-
think about that. Yeah,
I mean, clearly these two guys. Now I'm not nothing against both. I think they're both, perfectly great junglers, but I just don't see the reason to have them both on the same team because they're gonna have the same problem that TSM did, where they, do we play Acadian, do we play Grig, which one's better in scrims, which one's better on stage, and it ruins the mindset of whoever your starting jungler is when you have people telling you, okay, well maybe we won't want to put should we put Acadian in? You got the fans telling you to put Acadian in because you look at Dignitas' academy team and they're playing fantastic.
6-0 by the way.
6-0, destroying teams looking like looking like Cloud9 in academy. So I will say that I really hope that Grig stays the jungler of the whole time because I think he deserves it because he got signed as the starting jungler and Acadian, and nothing against Acadian. He deserves to be on a starting LCS team. Same with Demonte, but like this looming thing of should Acadian be put in is something that they're gonna have to deal with for the rest of the split, just like TSM did last year. And I will say, so kind of bringing it back to the pocket pick, I will say Dig as a top team is still a pocket pick. I think that they're easily a top 5 team. I think just like the way we've been talking about, TSM and Cloud9 so far today. I mean, they're leagues above everybody else. So they had to play,
and that was Dignitas week 1, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, they played the big boys this week. They played their last 3 losses against Cloud9, TSM, FlyQuest. These are people they're going to have to play in playoffs most likely. With the maybe of FlyQuest, seeing where they land. But I think Dignitas will get better. I think that it looks right now really glum for them, going from 3-0 to 0-3. But I think that they're a team that's going to bounce back and they're going to perform a lot better moving to the rest of the split.
Who do they play next week? I'm curious. I don't know if you guys.
I can pull it up.
Pull the schedule. I do not know.
Because kind of going back, okay, so maybe Greg is kind of you have all these people that are the team as a whole is up here, and then you have Greg that's maybe slightly down here. That's kind of the same situation if you think about it, as Evil Geniuses, for example. If you look at Evil Genius, their team is they have 4 really good players, and then you have Kumo. That's kind of the same.
I would agree.
Oof. So day 1 Saturday, Dignitas plays 100 Thieves, then they play Golden Guardians, and so I'm expecting them 2-0 this weekend.
If they don't 2-0 this weekend, then I definitely think that's when we start having a conversation of whether trying to decide where the team is. But I think this week's when we're really going to get the big sort of let's see where they are compared to what they were previously.
All right.
So
while I'm looking at this, before we transition on to the next bit and talk about our University of Oregon Esports League of Legends team.
I'm excited.
Fun topic.
Sorry, I will consistently plug everything I can. Big games this week, right? We got Cloud9 versus TSM.
Yes, big one.
And then TSM versus FlyQuest. And
you're forgetting the biggest game of the week so far. TL versus Immortals.
That one's gonna be pretty big too, actually.
For that one.
I pointed out. Yeah. So those are 3 big games this week, and I don't want to spend too long on this because I definitely want to talk about our team and how they played this week.
Definitely good.
But just a quick flash prediction: TL versus Immortals. Who do you got?
I think TL's gonna win that game.
I'm going with Immortals.
I'm gonna go with Immortals as well.
I think that there is TL
figures out their
that Schernfire's playing.
Stuff.
And I'm not saying that Schernfire's gonna be the reason why they're gonna lose, but if TL is playing with Schernfire, they are not gonna win the game.
Okay, Cloud9 versus TSM.
Cloud9's gonna win. I think that's. I mean,
yeah.
TSM has the best chance.
If you said TSM,
I know.
I was going to
held
knock
myself
your
back.
mic. I was about to see that and be like, wow. Okay.
I am actually.
I'm happy that TSM has.
I am on that TSM bandwagon, but I think Cloud9's the best team in the league.
Okay. I was about to say, if you were gonna bring that up.
Last one here, TSM versus FlyQuest.
I got TSM winning. FlyQuest. I was all
really
for FlyQuest.
Disappointed with this weekend.
This weekend just was you know what? This is FlyQuest. We're gonna get this up and down team for the rest of the split. So I'm gonna go with TSM.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with TSM for that one.
Because of momentum, I could see TSM as well.
Yeah, definitely agree. All right.
Definitely
why don't we move into the last little bit here of our own team, the University of Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Super excited. This was the first weekend that we really got to see our broadcast getting set up and fully used, which was really exciting.
Yeah. By the way, check that out.
Yeah. University of Oregon Esports Twitch. Actually, I think it's University of Oregen.
It's Twitch University of Oregon.
Yeah, Twitch University of Oregon. I was really
we have
happy
75 followers. Please follow. So.
I was really happy with being able to watch them. It was really exciting.
Production was actually really good too.
Yeah, and you guys. So you guys.
Shout out to Nick for casting.
Yeah, you did too.
I mean, we both casted, so
that's true.
We both gotta.
You two
got
I don't like taking praise.
I don't have that casting voice, but I was really impressed.
I think you do. A casting voice is pretty much a podcast voice. They're more or less the same.
It's
more the energy. The energy is where.
Hop on one cast.
Here's what I'll say. I was practicing with Nathan, just messing around doing the Call of Duty broadcast, and me and him I was killing it. I don't know what it was. Billy really
it's all about
it.
the energy, right?
And I will say Billy was like,
yeah,
hey,
that's what I need to work on too. Create that.
We were sitting there.
To think about.
We were sitting there game 1 last night, and I was doing a decent job play by play, I think. And Dylan's great color caster. Dylan's awesome.
Yeah, Dylan's awesome.
and I get we see the little Discord message pop up because the desktop's all set up and we can watch the game and stuff. And we see it from David, and it's like more energy. And I'm like, okay, cool. And once me and David saw that and me and Dylan saw that locked in. I think that's the big difference. Is the voice and kind of thing is totally fine. It's just an energy thing.
Yeah,
which is really strange.
Maybe I'll give.
You should. You totally should.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
I think
definitely. You should. You want to cast with me?
I mean, like,
Yeah,
I didn't even want to do it, and I'm a big behind the camera. I run the streams and all that kind of stuff and the production, but it was fun.
Okay,
it was a good time.
I'll think about it. I gotta get some practice in because I definitely would find myself tripping over words and tripping over.
I think I called LeBlanc Syndra like 4 times.
Oh,
so
the same
not
character.
But
Yeah,
Dylan
it
did the
was-
same thing too. But it was funny because Dylan pointed it out when I did it wrong, and I didn't have the like audacity to point it out when he did it
I
wrong.
will
Oh.
say, one thing I did notice was Rumble got picked, and
Rumble didn't get picked.
Oh my god.
No, he got
okay.
banned.
Banned.
He got
Yeah,
banned, and now.
I said
For
it.
those
No,
who
I said
don't
it, and I
know-
went a Rumble.
For those who don't know, Nick had his famous moment here, which is going to live on forever at the University of Oregon Esports program for
At least a good amount of time.
Yeah, as we're starting out here, it's gonna last a
Isn't
decent
that
amount.
the name of this actual like podcast that we're gonna name it?
our
Is
podcast group is now called the Rumble.
The Rumble.
Yeah.
I
So the
like
podcast
that.
itself was intentionally speaking, but when it's the 3 of us, we're the
called
Rumble.
The Rumble.
Okay.
So-
I like it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, go check out our Twitch channel and see the clips. 'Cause
Twitch.tv/University of Oregon.
Because we have a clip of Nick on there, Nick and Dylan.
Yeah, I clipped it. It's titled
so amazing.
quote the Rumble end quote ASMR caster synergy. I think it's our most
fantastic.
viewed clip on the channel for now, at least. Definitely give it a look.
All right, so kind of moving into like the performances. When I first started, I think the game that I watched was us against
British Columbia.
University of British Columbia.
Yeah.
So when I first started writing down notes as I was watching the game, I found myself writing down a lot of stuff that was like a lot of criticism. And I think that was because I was like, oh, no, why aren't they doing this? You know, they should be doing this. But then it's like, well, they're not pro players. You know?
And in your defense, and we'll get to this when we talk about last night's games, it was a very different play style. It was very chaotic.
Yeah, it's a
in
very
comparison to what
different-
last night, it was absolute control all the way through. So
Yeah, it was very chaotic,
Very
and,
Clown
which is
Fiesta-y.
fine, and that's something that we're gonna expect and something that you're gonna see. But it was definitely like I caught myself going like, okay, I need to look at these games with a different mindset. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here being like criticizing both teams' performances the whole time, which is obviously not what we want to do, and that's not what the whole plan was.
celebrate the good things.
But the few things I will notice, the first game was that, so for those of you who don't know, on our team we have, so how many players do we have on the team total? Do you guys know?
I believe
So-
we have 6, and we have 2 subs for ADC. So we have King of Plebs, and we have Leash.
It's Sevenfold, JG, HH Comet, Leash Sin, King of Plebs, Blue Burglar, 6 total.
Okay, so and I remember I think one of the broadcasts said that 3 of them were jungle mains.
Yeah, so
or still
Matt, top laner, Sevenfold XD, and we talked about it in our last podcast. JG,
he's role swapped.
JG,
top
and then Leash Sin. I think of the 3.
So that originally for me,
They've all reached
that-
their highest roles.
highest roles as jungle. Okay, so first off, that jumped out at me. I was like, okay, that's a little bit concerning, just because like I think Matt talked about it a little bit how he's having
on the last podcast.
Yeah, definitely having some trouble adapting to top lane, which you totally understand. And just like role swapping in general is hard. It's not easy at all. I mean, look at Keith. I mean, he's
I will support Keith till I die.
So do I.
He's
we love him.
My favorite. I love his. I just the audacity to be like, yeah, I'll do it.
I do it,
and then does it.
but role
I
swapping
respect
is
that
hard.
so
I really
hard,
like-
and I just love the fact that he has his name like as his IGN. The fact
Yeah.
that you can just go Keith. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
I miss like doesn't he have a tag that's called like Keith McBrief? Isn't that like?
It might have been. Yeah,
I think that was like
I
his
remember
first,
hearing about
his
that.
first one. Yeah.
It's just. Oh, we got Keith in the ball lane. I love that
It's
so much.
fantastic. So but I will say that talking about that, it's just like role swapping is difficult. So to have them role swapping around is, and one of the games I think JG, or I don't know why Matt wasn't playing in the first game that we had this weekend.
It was just they were experimenting with rosters, so we had 3 different roster changes. I could actually pull up what like the planned one was, and I don't remember if they followed it all the way
I'd
through.
actually be really curious to see.
That was
But,
one thing that jumped out to me, was like kind of confusing.
David
like,
did send it to us.
I was a little bit confused why Jared was playing in the top lane instead of Matt.
Okay.
But I mean, again, like that's something that we don't know if they're experimenting with positions or
That
whatever.
they were that day. And
Okay.
we got a lot of talk about that. So, and
Yeah.
I think it had to do with the team they played and whatever it was. Definitely changed out. And this was Saturday.
Yeah,
Right?
that was Saturday's game.
Yeah. Okay. So Saturday lineup top to bottom. I'm just gonna run through the three really quick. Game 1 was JG, King of Plebs, HH Comet, Leash Sim, Blue Burglar. Then it was Sevenfold, Matt, we had last week. JG, HH Comet, Leash Sim, Blue Burglar, that's the lineup we saw for all 3 games last
Yeah.
night. Well, 2 games actually. It was 2-0, and then game 3, which happened for. Did they go to 3 games Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So game 3 was JG, King of Plebs, HH Comet, Leash Sin, and Blue Burglar.
Yeah, so like definitely the position swapping is something that so originally I was like, that's something that's kind of concerning. You don't want to see guys playing all over the map. You want to I endorse and prefer consistency.
Yeah.
Just like with any team related game, but definitely obviously like if they're trying out new compositions, really trying to swap things around, that's totally okay, and that's something that we're gonna expect to see. But what I will say is that HH Comet was fantastic this weekend.
Yeah, he smurfed last night too.
Having not seen the players before this weekend, like definitely he's somebody that is what feels to me like is like one of the main sources of this team.
Yeah,
and a lot of the plays and the excitement comes from is his performances, especially on the Syndra game, which he went 16-0.
Yeah, we
against
talked about
British
this,
Columbia.
David and I, during the game last night. Dylan, doing these similar names. Dylan and I talked about this last night, and JG and HH Comet are absolute monsters together.
Oh,
They're
together,
two of the
they're
strongest players on the
fantastic.
team, and
Without a doubt.
you see that in JG's jungle presence as well as how he controls the map and how HH Comet wins lane.
Yeah.
Last night again, he pulled out the Syndra second game. They didn't ban it away from him. I don't know why.
Exactly.
Maybe they just didn't watch last weekend, which that's because they weren't following twitch.tv/University of Oregon Esports
Nice job,
or
Drew.
University of Oregon
I'm
not
proud of you
Esports.
for that one.
I don't know why they didn't ban it out. They gave it to him and kind of said, "Here, let's see how it is." And then he went 7-1-0. And his only death was flashing in to destroy the Ezreal on the enemy carry. And I looked at it. If he had a stopwatch, he would have lived through that fight. He wouldn't have died.
So definitely, I loved watching them. I loved seeing the team's dynamic and how how they play and what we're gonna expect to see over the next hopefully get to see them for a bunch more games. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that in UBC's game, I don't know which one it was, but their AD carry, I think his name was Depressed AD. He actually AFK'd. He left during one of the matches.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a tech issue.
So, and that's
Wasn't
the thing.
it? Yeah, I think it was a tech
It
issue.
was a tech issue, which they
They paused the
confirmed
game.
as
Yeah.
a tech issue.
Yeah, that's why the
But
game
he
went on
never
pause.
came back, and then they lost.
Well, yeah, because they played on actually. I remember when I was
They
casting
played on 4 to 5.
Yeah, when I was casting with Dylan, I was like, I think I made the call. I was like, oh, someone.
Yeah,
looks
No,
like
you
Depressed
definitely did. It
AD.
was 3 minutes of confusion, but then they
Then they
paused the
paused
game
it.
and
Finally
figured it
paused
out.
the game after 3
But
minutes.
I don't think he ever came back, did he? I think
No, he didn't.
UO
They
pushed
just
and won the
ended
game. So on that point, I want to commend David, our esports director, for putting his time, his sweat, his tears, everything he has into our esports lounge here at the University of Oregon.
Shout out David. We need to get him on this podcast.
I really
soon.
want him
I'm
on.
I
looking
would
at
really
you.
like to
I
get
would
him.
like to talk
We're gonna
about
get
that
you here.
because of that, we are not going to experience problems like that. Because I don't know University of British Columbia's their esports setup, but having a place here on campus that allows us to play our games gives and prevents that from happening.
Yeah.
And so
I think the only issue we had in the past weekend and last night was an audio issue between some of the headsets for our end. Definitely because of how collegiate works. We don't have all 10 players in the same room.
Exactly.
But for right now, we're sitting really pretty with our kind of tech setup.
And so again, it's really nice to see that the university believing in us and given us the opportunity to have that space to play our games is just really awesome, and it prevents us from having these situations where our AD carry, his internet crashes or his mom comes in and turns off his computer. We don't have that situation, and so that makes.
Speaking of the Esports Lounge, it does open next week for those interested. Grand opening, and people
any
will be going soon.
students that
Really excited for that.
go to the University of Oregon or able to use the lounge.
Exactly.
Again, I cannot stress enough. I will plug everything I can.
I believe
Yeah.
David
so-
would be so proud of you right now.
he would be so proud of you. He's probably gonna listen to this podcast and be like, every single time he hears.
Do you think
us
he
talk
listens?
About, I hope. I'm actually. We didn't ask.
I'll
about
message him
that.
right now.
If he
Actually,
doesn't listen, then
If he doesn't listen,
he needs to listen.
What I really want though is I really want this to
I'm not gonna
our
do that.
podcast to hopefully be streamed live on Twitch at some point.
That would be awesome.
I think that'd be really cool.
I think what
We
if
could
we had
definitely
like
set it up that way,
audiences
actually.
like asking us stuff like we had
Exactly.
like a live Twitch
Yeah.
chat or something like right there.
Because we have the TV, we can totally do that.
That
I
would be
totally
so
think
awesome.
we need to get on that.
Yeah, I can. I'll make a
Message
couple
him, 'cause
calls, a
I
couple
would like
messages.
to know if David does tune into our podcast because
Yeah.
we are
question.
shouting him out right now.
And we're also like talking about the University of Oregon esports team. Like
Yeah.
we're giving our feedback on what we have seen.
And not even feedback. I want to I want to definitely get back into the games. Last night for a couple reasons. One, I was watching the entire game because I was casting. Two, when I was doing the one Sunday on UBC, I was watching the game, but I was managing a lot of things, so it was really hard for me to process what was going on. But also because last night's games were really, really strong instead of the kind of fiesta we saw.
Chaos
Yeah,
versus British
yeah.
Columbia, which I think that comes down to the fact that a lot of teams that we play against, their rosters in terms of like players elo is much different. So when you get teams that are maybe a lot higher, elo than us, then our games are going to look a lot different than teams that have a lot lower elo. I think the the performances are going to change from week to week to week, and so I think that's something to watch out for and just to keep it in mind of.
Well, I guess we could probably just end up talking about what is it? Was it the British Columbia game? I could talk about that one if you wanted to talk about the one that you casted yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. And we could just kind of do some general thoughts about it, not to
Yeah.
go crazy
Yeah, I'd
deep
love
on
to
it,
hear
but I
his
do
general
have a
thoughts.
couple things I did want to highlight.
Yeah, why don't we start with you, Nick? Why don't you talk about the British Columbia game and what you saw from casting?
Well, okay, so basically what I got was excuse me. There was definitely it was like a slugger fest in terms of like University of Oregon, the Ducks, they take the first game, and then British Columbia takes the second game, and then game 3 was actually the closest game out of the two, because like in game 1, the Ducks kind of like blew out British Columbia, and then in game 2 it was like vice versa. Like it was the rec side was like 6-0 at like one point, and just,
On
like,
British Columbia's team.
yeah, on British Columbia. So, but like game 3, I definitely would say that was the closest game and was probably the most interesting game to watch, because a lot of times, at least in an organized team, like if you are behind, a lot of teams, they feel like they can't come back, and we kind of started to see it from the Ducks. But I mean, that was just what I recognized.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I tuned in for a little bit of the last game, but watching the first two games, you definitely get
We
the
ended up
sense of
losing the series, right?
yeah. I think we
Okay.
we did lose.
Yeah, we lost the series 2-1.
2-1. So I definitely think that volatility is something that we're gonna see probably consistently in our collegiate matches. I think that's something that is kind of almost expected
Yeah.
in some cases. Kind of like I was saying earlier, depending on both teams, overall ability. I think if one team is, like much better than another team, then obviously it's gonna impact. And but I think from our team, I was really happy to see our performance total. I think was really good, and I think that we definitely show that we are a very consistent team. With a very strong base, and I'm really excited to see how we're gonna move forward.
Yeah, me as well. He did get back to me really fast. He does listen.
He does
He
listen.
said each of them. I don't know if he listens to the entirety of them, but he does listen. So
Okay.
hopefully he'll listen to this one. I told him to
Hopefully.
shout it out.
As
Yeah.
I'm
A
like
lot.
dying over here. I don't know why
It's okay.
I'm like coughing now.
You got water?
I do. Yeah.
Oh,
I do have
beautiful.
water. I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good.
So
Okay.
yeah, we hopefully David can listen in and hear us shout him out, because we appreciate him and everything that he does
All
for
the
us.
hard work he puts in behind the scenes, definitely.
So Drew, what did you think about this last game on what day was it? Sunday or Monday?
The one I did?
Yeah.
It was last night.
Last night. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was
behind
in
it.
the, what was it? We started streaming at 8:15, and then
yeah.
I left Allen at about just before 11, actually.
Wow.
It was about a 2 hour and 20-minute stream, I think.
We ended up winning the series, right?
Oh yeah, 2-0. Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't even, and I want to emphasize, I don't even think Cal State Long Beach was bad. I don't think they were a bad team. I think they were a really good team, and they were fun to watch.
Just that we were better.
We were just better, and we were pressing our advantages really, really well.
That's good.
There was a lot of team communication, and we saw game 1, JG get his iconic Nidalee.
I did catch
monstrous
that, which
pick for JG.
I can't imagine a team letting that go through because
I honestly see. I had no prior knowledge until Dylan brought it up, and we were talking about it pregame and all that kind of stuff, and I was skeptical, but and that's just a natural way to feel when people like hype things up because you're always worried they're gonna overhype, and I was skeptical, and we get into the game and right off the bat, and I'm one that I really watch the map as everyone should, but I really watch the map because I'm a sport player and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right from the game, like get go, you see JG he's a different monster on the Nidalee. He knows like the full extent of that champion's kit and how to poke people out because Cal State Long Beach they picked Elise, right? Strong early game jungler. That Elise had no early game presence whatsoever because JG did such a good job of shutting her down so fast and essentially establishing dominance in the jungle that you saw Elise pretty much scared to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? And that had to do with like how monstrous he was in that Nidalee. He did have like, as the game went on, a couple untimely deaths, but that was like, it was a 1-for-1 trade, right? Like he'd take out a carry or that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He absolutely destroyed that game, and Cal State respected it. Instant first ban, right? As we get into game 2. Definitely want to highlight in that game, not just JG, but Lee Sin both games last night. Absolutely monstrous AD, right? He had it was a Braum Lucian against a Xayah Rakan for the first game, and he was on Xayah, and those lane that lane right there, like matchup is pretty even for me, right? We have the really, really strong early level 2 from Braum and Lucian, right? Proc that stun if you can get it off. Nice combo, possibly a potential first blood. And that was where we saw the Elise's presence the most, was in the bot lane, because JG was absolutely controlling topside jungle for Matt and HH Comet, right? So even with that, I think they were the ones that ended up getting first blood. Lee Sin, right? And then he was able to pop off. I think he went 5-1 something in that game.
That's awesome.
He absolutely destroyed. Yeah. And they banned away. Did he get Xayah this game? I have the score line for this game popped up. Yeah, so they banned away the Xayah as well. So they banned away Nidalee and the Xayah because they were both scared of both performances. And then he continued to pop off on MF. He went 5-1-3, had a 700 gold bounty at the end of the game. Most farm in game. Absolutely demolished. And also, I want to point out Blue Burglar. He absolutely great support.
Yeah.
Went 0-0-12, deathless that last game. It was just, as one I was observing and managing the camera and everything for Sunday, and it was like, okay, yeah, we're pretty good. We got some good like team mechanics going on right now, really good mechanical players. But it was a fiesta, right? As we talked about, it was kind of crazy all over the place. Yeah. Last night, it was just
very controlled.
Absolute domination, right?
Yeah.
I'd say the second game, Cal State had some win conditions set up for them because they had the Fiora into Orin matchup that, even though Matt got ahead early, Fiora scaled out, right? Yeah. And she became a really powerful split lane push threat. And there was a moment there where the game was really close, even though Oregon was winning in kills and was winning in objective control. Yeah. The game essentially became really close, and it became down to a split push decision-making game. And Oregon was still able to compose themselves and close it out, which was like really impressive. Last thing I want to talk about before we move on from that game, and I guess get the closing up things here soon. AJ to comment on the Syndra, right? They banned it away from him the first game, so he couldn't have it. And then they're like, you know what? Show us what you got. And he went 7-1-0, right? He's an absolute monster on those control mages, and I'm excited to see what he has to bring forward. JG, again, second game, banned away Nidalee from him, but did a great job on Olaf in terms of securing objectives, pushing waves, finding essentially... He was taking objectives while knowing where their jungler, what was it? I'm not even going to say his name because it's dumb. But Cal State's jungler, who wasn't playing bad, definitely one of the rocks for their team. He knew where he was at all times. If we look at the jungle as a game of chess, which most people often do, it was checkmate by minute 10, right?
And there's not much.
JG had his number, and there was nothing Cal State could do. Yeah. They were always playing on the back foot, always playing reactive, and Oregon just continued to slowly press their advantages with control and not like get too excited, and just were able to close out both games.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we wrap sort of go to the last little bit here. So I know we wanted to talk about and preview a little bit games that we have coming up here. So especially the one on February 21st, which
Oh
is
yeah,
our
the big show match with the
big-
grand opening of the Esports Lounge coming to the University of
yes.
Oregon in the EMU.
So yeah, that's actually gonna be super exciting. Drew, why don't you plug that a little bit? Do you want to plug a little more?
Oh, I mean, that kind of was my plug. Each time I make direct eye contact, I'm probably plugging something. But yeah, no, we have. I think the lounge officially opens up Thursday, if I'm right. I could
This
be wrong.
Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say. Well,
Today's
I
Thursday,
mean,
bro.
you guys know where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, and like
Exactly.
right after this. No, today's Thursday.
Yeah.
I think it officially opens next Thursday, but next Friday, University of Oregon is hosting an esports conference business kind of event.
Yeah.
And with that, there's going to be matches early in the morning. I think some of the best league, at least David was saying, is like right at 8 a.m. So that's all going to be set up. But we're playing a show match at 5 between University of Oregon and Northwest Christian University. So we're definitely going to preview that match. I'm trying to think if there's anything else about it. Yeah, it's going to be at 5. If you're around
all
in
of
town, come watch at the EMU. The
Yes,
players will be,
It's gonna be extremely exciting.
at the O desk. And then shortly after, the Esports Lounge will be open to students.
I know it's gonna be. I cannot wait for it. It's gonna be amazing, and I've seen the Esports Lounge what it looks like right now, and it looks unbelievable. And I'm super excited
Yeah,
to be
it's
able to get in there.
honestly totally an unexpected thing for me as a transfer student coming here to like see not only be here at the foundation of the program growth, which I'm really excited to be a part of, but the potential everything has.
Exactly.
And it's turning out really well.
And then previewing the match itself between the University of Oregon and Northwest Christian University, I think that I feel pretty confident with us because especially after this week, the match yesterday.
Yeah.
We definitely have this level of confidence, I think, going into the show match that is going to be really, really nice. And I think I'm really excited to see how we can play against them because Northwest Christian University, for those who don't know, it's actually kind of been in the news a little bit recently for esports as they're the first college in Oregon to offer esports scholarships, I believe.
I think so. Yeah, that sounds about.
That's interesting.
Very
Good,
so
good,
it's
good, interesting,
it's good
but
for esports.
surprising,
Yeah.
nonetheless.
It's definitely interesting. Taking a look at both teams, I feel pretty confident in our chances, and I'm excited to see how the show match plays out.
Yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting matchup.
And I think
I'm just excited regardless. So
and I'm just excited to be able to watch our teams play against each other like live. I think because Northwest Christian University is right next to
Yeah,
the
it's like
University of
right
Oregon.
down
I don't know the full setup. Talk to David about it. I'm pretty sure players are going to be at the O desk in the EMU. I don't know if it's going to be both teams. If it's just going to be our team.
Just be our team. Okay. I hope it's
so I
both
don't know
teams.
what that
I think it'd
is.
be more
There's
exciting
definitely the
if
possibility for both
Yeah.
teams. If they wanted to actually camp out in the lounge, they probably could because NCU's a block and a half away. So
exactly.
definitely doable. Don't quite know all the details yet, but be on the lookout for our Twitter, University of Oregon Esports, or is it UO Esports? Yeah, UO Esports, and
Esports.
any of that kind of news. And we'll be heading into next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see that game go down. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and just to be able to watch our teams live, I think is what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it up.
You guys got any closing thoughts or statements maybe for week 4 of LCS or anything else you guys want to talk about?
Honestly, I'm on this TSM like hype wagon a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm honestly really interested to see like what they do this next week. Obviously, we know that they're going to be playing. Who did we say? Cloud9?
Yeah, it's Cloud9 and FlyQuest are the two big ones.
Yeah.
Just because FlyQuest had really strong early weeks.
Yeah. So I think this is going to be a big week for them. I'm really excited to see the other games. I definitely am one that kind of likes the meta right now. So like kind of where the game's at. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen moving forward for future weeks.
As for me, I know they're touching about it in the patch notes, and the meta is shifting just a little bit. But Jesus Christ, nerf Senna AD harder than like what's supposed to come. Just I don't want to see her in the
Someone
AD
was
role.
saying that Aurelia is coming back.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't
Aurelia is
mind
one of
that.
my favorite champs to play.
I enjoy
Actually, she's really fun.
So then people can't play mages in the top lane anymore, like a Soraka.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of done with that too. But it was a funny noodle fight to watch, so I didn't mind it too much. And it was just kind of that whole Senna AD pick, right? So if we see Senna taken out from the AD role, we're probably not going to see Soraka top anymore.
For me, I think I'm most excited for 100 Thieves because, as most of you knew,
Yeah, you're not wearing your sweatshirt this week.
Yeah, you're
I'm not wearing my 100 Thieves sweatshirt. I have been considering rocking the jersey underneath my jacket, but I'm excited. You know, this last week wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't horrible either. I have to say I'm super impressed with Stunt. Did any of you guys catch that first game against? I think it was CLG.
Nope.
I had a lot of. I actually was really. I was really hyped to actually see Stunt come into the league. So
it was, or no, it was against not CLG. It was against TL, and Stunt's level 2 roam against Surenfire for the blind hook for the first blood was fantastic. And as a Thresh player, it made me super excited and really happy to watch. So I'm excited to see them. I hope they win. I fully believe that they're going to win this split because 100 Thieves is definitely by far the best team in the league. So,
by far the best team
Yep.
in the league. Yeah.
By far.
and then on a more personal note, I'm excited to keep climbing this season and fully believe. I know that Nick here is also excited because he is a gold player and he's going to eventually get platinum. And what about you, Drew? Got any last talks about your personal experiences in the solo queue experience?
Way to throw me on the spotlight.
What's your
Definitely
rate?
always trying to remain positive.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Definitely gonna keep pushing the climb as we head into week
as a
45.
TFT player, how is your experience kind of like looking towards like the solo queue experience?
Like, you mean like Rift solo queue?
Yeah, because you know being a
Yeah, no, okay.
team,
So
you know,
I've
team
had
captain.
highs in Rift solo queue. They want to just give me absolute BM right now because of my current rank. Catch me next week or 2 weeks from now, and we'll
Okay.
see how
Oh.
much trash you guys
Oh,
got to give me.
okay.
I'm ready.
But on
We
the
should
topic of
see
TFT,
who's-
everyone should play. I'm currently gold 2 or gold 1. I'm going to be diamond by the end of the season.
Okay.
You can mark that now. We'll see it later.
Okay, that's a big.
Yeah.
Definitely need
see.
to close up here, though, before we run a little too long.
Yeah, so I guess that'll be it then. We can call it, guys. Thank you to everyone listening, and just remember to follow us on Twitter at UO Esports and UO DuckTV on Instagram, and make sure to follow us on Twitch at
Yeah.
University of Oregon Esports.
Yeah,
So
definitely tune in this weekend. I think we've got a couple Rocket League games, and then be sure to tune in next Friday at 5 p.m. when we have the show match between NTU.
February 21st.
Yeah.
5 p.m. show match against Northwest Christian University.
Let's try and get as many people as we can on that stream.
I'm
Yeah, I think we've
excited.
topped out so far at 43
Oh,
viewers.
we're-
If we could
we're-
break 50, 60, that'd
No,
be
we're gonna
insane.
At a
100.
single time?
We're gonna break
Yeah.
100.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
believe.
Last night
We're
was
gonna-
40
We're gonna
something.
media blast it. We're breaking 100.
Yeah.
We're getting our Twitch
gonna-
Prime so David can make his commercial and sell himself out for Twitch Prime. I'm excited.
Perfect.
So, all right. Thanks for everyone listening, and that'll be it from us.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.